I feel like one of the things that I sent you that I was really curious about
Yeah.
was, a lot of women, I feel like guys have the insecurity behind closed doors. They don't necessarily know what women want, what they don't want. So one of the topics I think I asked you was like, what are some things that women wish men did in bed? So
Yes.
why don't we kind of just start there and see where the conversation goes?
I think that's a great idea. And there are a couple of things. So, as a penis owner, you are driven by testosterone. And as a vulva owner, we don't say vagina anymore because the vagina is just the birth canal. We like you to think about the entire lady parts areas, which I know we're going to get into more detail about that. It's one of my favorite things to talk about is women's genitals and how you can play with them to give her unbelievable pleasure. So we're definitely going to get to that in even more detail. But you are like, you're horny and ready to go. You're horny every day. And you are like, once you get an erection, you're like ready for penetration. And it is almost impossible for me to explain how different the female is, where you're like full speed ahead and she's all over the map. Now, that comes as no surprise if you know women, but what we need is a lot more warm up. And I know your guys know that that foreplay needs to be involved, but I want to give you some real specifics about that. The first one is the thing that I tell guys is slow down and then slow down some more and then slow down even more. Because I can actually see in men how they're just like, it's like they're just like ready. And though we women love that you're like pawing us and you're like, snorting and stamping like a bull to get in our china shop and stuff, and we do love that about you. We also need you're like so far ahead of us. We need you to come back and get us and bring us along because our desire and arousal, they're cyclical over the month, because we're women who run with the moon and we have our menses even after menopause. We still are very cyclical. We want sex. We want it a lot. We want it to be awesome. We want you to come us like crazy, but your job is the heavy lifting, and the heavy lifting is coming back and getting us and taking us on an erotic adventure. So there's a couple of things that are really, really, really good to do. And one of them is that we love full body touch. I like to use an analogy I call the bullseye touch technique, where you imagine a bullseye and it's got the rings, that go smaller and smaller until you get the creamy middle. And what you're used to in playing darts at the bar and drinking your pints is boom, you want to hit the bullseye every time. But the thing with women is you actually arouse them faster when you start on the outside rings and work your way in. When you think about the fact that what she needs is like her hair stroked and her cheeks stroked and her neck nibbled and her arms touched and her back touched and her butt grazed with your hands. And she really likes her feet touched. This is not something that you would think is foreplay, but a foot massage is so fantastic for women because the sensory signals that go from the foot are in the brain are right next to the sensory signals that go from the clitoris to the brain.
Wow, I didn't know that.
There's something really erotic about a man rubbing our feet and giving to us selflessly. And we always wear those sexy high heels for you, so our feet hurt. So rubbing the feet, rubbing the body, full body, and then working your way from the outside in. So a lot of guys, when they think about getting a woman turned on, they think, oh, okay, I've got to twist these knobs and push this button. When in fact, because that's what you want, the very first thing you'd like her to do is put her hand on your package, because that actually calms you down. That's like the signal that it's going to get some attention and she likes it and it feels good. But for her, it's the opposite. When you grab her crotch, when you grab her breast, when you go right for her nipples and you've never touched any of the tissue around it or her sternum or her neck, it's too much too soon. So you
Mm,
have to like get your gas and brake going. You've got to slow yourself down and drop into her needing, she's a kitty cat. So she
mm,
needs to be stroked like a cat, never against the fur, always top down and long, languorous strokes. And when you pet a cat, when you get a cat that comes and sits in your lap and they love you to pet them, that cat, you enjoy petting that cat. That's a nice cat. And that's
mm.
really what you have in your hands when you have a woman. You have a kitty
I
cat.
see. One of the so Oh, sorry to interrupt.
That's okay.
What you're saying, it kind of reminds me of like, if a guy, a lot of times I'll tell guys like how to break the touch barrier, and it was very similar to that analogy you gave. I'm like, you got to start with the least intimate part, which is further out from your midline,
That's it.
and so that's kind of what I teach guys. So almost when you were saying that, I guess it made me wonder. It's almost like this starts outside of the bedroom, even when you're just having that casual conversation in public. You start on the outside, and over time you're working your way in.
Yes, exactly. It's the outside to the inside. It's the extremities to the erogenous.
Mm,
Exactly. And what I wanted to say too was you want to transform that kitty cat into a tigress. And you do that through that outside in approach. The other thing that is very important is holding a woman. You want to establish, we women are so strong now. We earn our incomes and we're running companies, and we're often in our masculine. And when we get to the bedroom, we want you to get us in our feminine. And one of the best ways to do that is through something that I call the soulmate embrace. And it's how a woman has been wanting to be held her whole life and has never been held. And I have a download with the description of exactly what to do that I'm going to give to your guys, your watchers. And
oh
if you'll
wow.
put the link below to the Soulmate Embrace, then they can download that, because the most common thing that guys do is they'll hold you. And then when you go, they let you go and they're done. That's only the first exhale, because arousal actually begins in relaxation. If you've
Hmm.
ever been with a woman who's flighty, or she's knocking things over, she's clumsy, she's fidgety, she seems high strung, she's a woman who needs to get really well made love to. She needs to get it good, but you can't give it to her until you calm her down. So you set a masculine frame by holding her the way she's been dreaming of her whole life with this soulmate embrace. It gets her literally drooling for you. Literally drooling for you. Drool is a sign of relaxation. And when you get the spit running, the vaginal area is getting lubricated. It's fascinating. It's all one tube.
Huh. Yeah.
So that's the soulmate embrace. The second thing is dirty talk. A lot of times guys do, and I have a book on dirty talk that's downloadable. I'm going to give you a number of my little mini sex techniques that are downloadable. So you'll put a link below for my dirty talk book. The dirty talk book is how to talk dirty without being weird, or how to talk dirty without sounding like all you do is masturbate to porn all day.
Mm,
Because that's not what women want. And there's 5 dirty talk techniques in that book where I literally tell you what to say that turns a woman on. And that's available for you. Women need 2 things in equal measure verbally. They need you to adore them, and they need you to tell them why you find them very specifically sexually irresistible. So you have to tell them what you love about their ass or their breasts or their face or their legs or whatever it is that's really attractive to you. And you have to tell them what you adore and appreciate about them. Women need a lot of verbal encouragement, and that is difficult for men because men are men of few words. Women talk circles around the guys. So the Dirty Talk book teaches you how to do these things, and literally I just give you the phrases, and then you can ad lib from there, but it's kind of like Mad Libs. You can start with what I gave you. So Dirty Talk
yeah.
is another thing. And then another thing that's may be surprising to you, but women need a lot of variety, often more than men do. They need you to move their bodies and take them into different sex positions, because when you move a woman's body, you move her emotions and you establish masculine sexual leadership by actually manhandling them in a delicate way, right? And so I created another download that's a very popular download of mine. It's called 7 Stimulating Sex Positions. And these are very, very sexy sex positions that incorporate a lot of full body touch and a lot of pleasuring her erogenous zones while you're penetrating her. And some of them are oral pleasuring, and some of them are intercourse techniques. And that's the third thing I have for you. That is, it's an illustrated guide too. So you can actually see the pictures of what you're supposed to do. So it's kind of like a cartoon book. It's like a graphic novel. So I think that's important. Really, when I talk to women behind closed doors, generally they feel bored with their partner. And they'll never tell him that. And they don't know how to ask for it. And a lot of women are like, well, I don't want to ask for it because I don't know what I want. I just know what I'm getting isn't really very exciting for me. So taking her on an erotic journey by moving her body in different sex positions, and they're all doable for anyone of any body dynamics. That's one of the nice things about it.
Yeah.
And then there's 2 other things. If you really want to arouse her, there's this like holy trinity, and that is kissing, orgasmic breast massage and nipple play, and yoni massage, massaging her genitals with your hands, not fingering, not just like trying to make her come, but actually giving her genitals lots of oily massage. Good. And I recommend that you use organic oil, like organic sweet almond oil, or organic avocado oil, or organic jojoba oil, but not coconut oil, because it disrupts the vaginal microbiome for many women. So when you use a nut oil, you can wipe it off and go right down on her, and you're not giving any nasty chemicals to her, and you're not eating any nasty chemicals, which is really nice. But using that oil all over her breasts and kissing her and then playing with her yoni, it's real combination that gets her aroused, because she's not ready for penetration till she's begging you to put it in. And so making her wait till you get her really turned on, because if this is your penis and all of this is erectile tissue, she has exactly the same amount of erectile tissue inside her genitals. And what's great about that is that you can access all of this tissue. It's actually surrounding her vagina. So her clitoris is just the tip of the iceberg of all that tissue you want to get plumped up, fluffed up, and engorged, because then she's going to be able to achieve orgasm from intercourse without even any clitoral direct clitoral stimulation, because the whole clit got puffed up. And then finally, I do a lot of primary research. I ask couples, what are you good at in bed and what aren't you so good at in bed? And couples tell me all the time that one of the things they're the worst at is incorporating sex toys into lovemaking. Now, women are using sex toys, using vibrators all the time to get themselves off when you're not there. Why wouldn't you be adding that into play? And the 7 Stimulating Sex Positions is one of the things where I show you some really good ways to incorporate sex toys into lovemaking, because she can have orgasms with and without them. So why would you make her not get those too? Give her as many orgasms as you can, because she'll be scheduling dates with you when you can give her that many orgasms. So those are my best techniques for what she's looking for that she's not getting, that you can give her that other guys don't.